What's up, guys? We're back with a full slate of MLB action here on Saturday, April 12th. We're going to break down every MLB game on the slate. We're going to look at bets on the side and over-under, and make sure you're checking that pinned comment throughout the day to see if there are any changes as injury news and starters are confirmed. Yesterday went pretty okay, guys, but now we're after. Not as good as the other last couple days. We've been running pretty hot. Big winning days 2 days in a row. We give a little bit back in this one. We had the Tampa Bay Rays minus 115. That was a great way to start the day. They come away with a 6-3 win. We had the Yankees. Unfortunately, picked the wrong time there to be on the Yankees. We had a minus 125. They took a 9-1 loss, and I'll be honest, they looked pretty terrible out there. We had the Nationals minus 122. That's another nice win, a 7-4 win, despite the Nationals had 3 errors in the game, so that's obviously not a great look, but we didn't finish the day strong. Boston minus 170. We get punished for taking the chalk. They lose 11-1 to the White Sox. Boston had 5 errors in the game. So that's pretty brutal. The Angels plus 122, tried to get an underdog in there and thought Kalhanowitz would have a good game. Well, he actually had a terrible game. The Angels get shelled. So unfortunately, a 2-3 day. Now what we're after. Let's try to get back in the win column. Although 2 winning days in a row, then 1 slightly losing day. Not the end of the world. Guys, do me a big favor, slam that like button. It's free, helps me a ton, shows your appreciation for all the free information we're putting out every day. Think of it as tipping, but here, it's absolutely free. If you're new around here, subscribe to the channel. That'll keep you from missing our daily videos. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today or any other feedback you have for me, and I will personally respond. Quick reminder, all of our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. Click the link in the description to go over there and see the top confidence picks from our entire team of experienced cappers. Right now, our premium members are getting daily MLB, NBA, NHL, and UFC picks. Major League Baseball has been our most profitable sport the last 3 years in a row, so it's off to a great start this year as well, right out of the gate, printing units to start the season. Once you get over to StumpTheSpread.com, you'll be able to see our exclusive free picks that are only posted there, free to use bet size calculators, and our premium top confidence picks, which might not always match what you see here in the video. You also need to sign up for our free email newsletter from StumpTheSpread.com, which will get you free picks straight to your inbox every day and updates on our results. Just make sure to check your spam folder. If you're a huge fan of what we do here every single day, you can sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Channel members are eligible for our members only giveaways. We'll be giving away a Stump the Spread hoodie to one random channel member each month. And as we get more channel members, guys, we'll be doing more and more giveaways every single month. Members also get early access to all of our videos and get their names up on screen in every single one. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the Detroit Tigers going on the road to take on the Minnesota Twins. The Tigers come into this game fresh off of a win in game 1 of this series, a close one, a 76 win, so they'll definitely take that. And at 8-5 to start the year, things are headed the right direction out there in Detroit. They're currently in the top spot in the AL Central, so I know it's insanely early on, but that probably doesn't feel too bad. They're hitting the ball in this one to Jackson Jobe, the young 22-year-old going out there on the mound, guys, for what is going to be his 3rd start of the season. And the early returns have been kind of what you would expect out of a 22-year-old getting tossed out there on a major league mound. It hasn't been a disaster, but it hasn't been great. He's also gone up against the White Sox and the Seattle Mariners, so not exactly the toughest competition out there. Detroit has won both games, so I guess we got to give him credit there, but he has not figured in any result. He's sporting an ERA of 5, so it's been a little bit rocky. He gave up 2 home runs there against Seattle. No home runs against the White Sox, but 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them were earned. And he's had control issues, walking a total of 7 hitters through those first 2 starts. So Bro's gotten off to a little bit of a rocky start, albeit he's a young guy. We'll see what he can do out there, over the course of a whole season. Not going to judge him here on a couple starts. The Tigers' bullpen has not been amazing. A 4.21 bullpen ERA here in the early part of the season. Not what you want to see. Obviously, we don't want to make too sweeping of assumptions about the bullpen just yet, but right now, we're not loving it. The offense has actually been off to a very good start given what we saw from the Tigers last year, at least. I mean, they're top 10 in runs scored, 4th in batting average, 7th in on-base percentage. We've seen Zach McKinstry get off to a good start. Kerry Carpenter's already put up 4 home runs and 9 RBIs. So very good stuff. And they've scored 7, 3, 5, 6, and 4 runs over their last few games. So very reasonable stuff from the Tigers here. They're taking on the Twins, who were only 4-10 to start the year. Not the season, not the start to the year they've been hoping for. They're already dealing with some injuries and stuff like that. They're going to be hitting the ball in this one to Chris Paddock, who is not doing well here right out of the gates. It got off to a terrible start, getting obliterated by the White Sox. That's just about as embarrassing as it can get in the major leagues. And then against the Houston Astros, a similarly bad time. 4 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them were earned. At least he didn't give up 3 home runs in that game, I guess, but brutal stuff here in the early returns for Paddock. So we'll see what they get from him. We'll see what they get from the bullpen, which has actually been very good this season. A 2.64 bullpen ERA is great, but if your starter gets shelled too aggressively, that's going to be a big problem. The Twins' offense has also not gotten off to a very good start at all. 28th in the majors in batting average, 28th in on base percentage. When you're batting under 200 as a team, it's time to start taking notice. They've scored 6, 2, 4, 1, and 2 runs over their last few games. Brutal start to the year. The Twins are actually favored in this game. That's, I would say, a reflection of young Jackson Jobe being on the mound there for the Tigers. Detroit plus 100, the Twins minus 115. We've got a total of 8.5 out there. Detroit 2-4 on the road, 6-5-1 to the over. Minnesota 1-2 at home, 6-5-2 to the under. I think over is very live in this game. We saw the bats for both teams kind of come alive there in game 1, so I think we'll see a decent amount of offense. Getting to 9 feels like a lot, but when you look at who's on the mound for these two teams, it doesn't look so crazy at all. In terms of side, I actually like the Tigers more than I like the Twins here. It's not going to be going in the pinned comment, but that would be the lean that I have. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Philadelphia Phillies. They're going on the road to take on the St. Louis Cardinals. The Phillies actually took a 2-0 loss there against St. Louis. Palante throwing an absolute gem out there. I didn't have a huge lean on that game, but I did say I like Palante, and bro went out there, put up 7 shutout innings. So pretty crazy stuff. The Phillies are still 8-5 on the season. They're hitting the ball to Christopher Sanchez in this game, hoping he can help with a little bit of a bounce back. He hasn't figured in a result this season. He's sporting a 4.09 ERA. A couple of starts going up against the Rockies, he looked great. Going up against the Dodgers his last time out, not so hot. The Phillies have won both of his starts, but an 8-7 win there against the Dodgers, not exactly his fault. He went 5 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, gave up a couple of home runs. He did strike out 9 and walk only 1. So seems like he might be rounding into form here, and he's taking on the Cardinals, who have gotten off to a pretty good start offensively, but is that real? We'll have to wait and see. The Phillies bullpen looking like an issue right out of the gates, a 4.10 bullpen ERA, not a great sign for a bullpen that was a huge problem last year. We're seeing Schwarber continue to put the power numbers up to 6 home runs and 12 RBIs, but down to batting .280. As a team, this offense looks like it's going to be just fine, guys. They're first in on-base percentage, 6th in batting average. They're 12th in runs scored, but that's a number I expect to move up a little bit here. I mean, obviously they're coming off of getting shut out, so they're in a bounce-back spot, but maybe not swinging the hottest bats. They're taking on the Cardinals, who are 6-7 on the year. It seems like they're trying to turn things around here, but we'll see if that's a reality. Obviously, they've got to be pumped about Palante looking so good. What are they going to get out of Miles Michaelis in this game, though? The 36-year-old veteran not looking great here in the early returns. 0-1 on the year, an 11.25 ERA. He got obliterated there by Boston his last time out. At Fenway, not having a good time. 2 3/3 innings, gave up 11 hits, 9 runs, 8 of them were earned. And that was without giving up a home run. So these weren't just like, oh, I made a mistake pitch here. Like, bro is just getting hammered. So we'll see if he can bounce back, see if that Cardinals bullpen can move a little bit in the right direction. A 4.76 bullpen ERA at the moment, not great. The offense has been what's kind of carried the Cardinals here in the early goings. Herrera's off to a great start, 4 home runs, 11 RBIs. They're 3rd in the majors in runs scored, 2nd in batting average, so tons and tons of very, very big time positive stuff. They're 2nd in on-base percentage, so a lot of good things to look at here for the Cardinals. The odds makers don't love St. Louis, though. They're plus 130. The Phillies are minus 148. We've got totals out there of 8 or 7.5. The Phillies are 3-3 on the road, 8-4 to the under. The Cardinals 4-2 at home, 9-2-1 to the over. I'm not going to take the Cardinals with Michaelis on the mound, guys. There's just no way I'm going to do that. If they do win this game, it's going to be because they take advantage late. So that could be in play here if you wanted to, maybe look at that. Maybe look at the Phillies in the first 5, something like that. But I think over 7.5. There's still 7.5s out there. I think that's very live in this game. Obviously not in love with Michaelis or the Cardinals bullpen or the Phillies bullpen or the way Christopher Sanchez looked here in the early going. So I'd be lying if I said over 7.5. Didn't have a very legitimate chance to end up in the pinned comment. The Phillies are due for a bounce back offensive day. The Cardinals, they're hitting the ball well all season long. Next up, guys, we're looking at the red-hot San Francisco Giants going on the road to take on the New York Yankees. The Giants got the blowout 9-1 win there against the Yankees in Game 1. Yeah, pretty crazy stuff there. Stroman got absolutely destroyed. Got chased in the first inning, giving up 5 runs there. So, not a good look. Not a good look. The Giants, obviously, looking amazing. They're hitting the ball to Jordan Hicks, who's 1-0 to start his season, guys. 2.38 ERA. He comes into this game looking for something of a bounce back, guys. I mean, Hicks not looking so hot against Seattle. 5 1/3 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, a couple of home runs there. It was eventually a 5-4 win there for the Giants, so they'll take that, but they would like more to see what he did in his first outing where he dominated the Houston Astros. So we'll see what goes on there. The Giants bullpen has been one of their huge strengths here in the early goings, a 1.75 bullpen ERA. pretty crazy work there. The offense has also been doing its thing. They're top 10 in runs scored, 12th in slugging percentage. We've seen Wilmer Flores get off to a very good start. 5 home runs, 15 RBIs for him. And over the last few games, they've scored 9, 8, 0, 0, 5, 4, and 10 runs. So yeah, not looking so hot there against the Reds there for a minute. But other than that, looking very, very good. So we'll see if they can keep things rolling here against the Yankees, who come into this game 7-6 on the year. Stroman getting rocked and then headed to the hospital. Like, I don't know, not a great look there. The Yankees only 7-6 on the season. Not what you would be hoping for. They're hitting the ball in this one to Will Warren, who is sporting a ERA of 6.00. He's going to be making his 3rd start of the year. Had a pretty good outing there against the Diamondbacks. Not going to lie, that was fine. But then his last time out against the Pittsburgh Pirates, not exactly an offensive juggernaut. 4 innings, 6 hits, 4 earned runs. Walked 1, struck out 5. Gave up no home runs, I guess that's the positive there. But the young 25-year-old not exactly killing it out there. And the Yankees bullpen, guys, I'm going to be honest, not anything to write home about so far this year. A 4.29 bullpen ERA. Not getting me going. The offense got off to a great start, but things have definitely slowed a bit. I mean, Aaron Judge still, bro's got 20 RBIs and 6 home runs. That's not a big problem. And they're still second in the majors in runs scored. So I'm not like trying to run down the Yankees offense, but it's not going quite as gangbusters. They scored 1, 4, 0, 2, and 4 runs over the last few games. That's not what the Yankees are supposed to be all about. So looking at the numbers for this game, the Yankees are still favored. They're minus 135. We've got a total of 8 out there. The Giants are plus 115, and San Francisco, they're 5-1 on the road. That's an MLB best road mark. They're 7-5 to the over. The Yankees are 4-2 at home, 7-4-1 to the over. I could definitely be talked into over 8 in this game. I don't have any problem with that, really. But in terms of a side, I know Jordan Hicks wasn't great his last time out, but the Yankees are slumping at this point, and the Giants are playing amazing. I lean towards the Giants here at plus 115. I think they're playing much better. They've been one of the best road teams in the MLB this season just overall, and definitely, the best record. So, yeah, give me the Giants at plus 115 and a look at that over. Rolling right along here, guys, we're looking at the Toronto Blue Jays going on the road to take on the Baltimore Orioles. They just had game 1 of this series get postponed. It's going to get made up in late July, so that probably doesn't make the dudes too happy, but at least no doubleheader, I guess. The Blue Jays, 8-6 on the season. They're going to be hitting the ball in this one to Bowden Francis, who's 1-1 to start the year, a 3.18 ERA. His last start was against the Mets, and it was very good. Honestly, both of his starts have been very similar and both very, very good. He did give up 6 hits against the Mets, but only 2 earned runs. He gave up 2 home runs against the Nationals in his first outing, but those were the only runs that he surrendered. So very, very good stuff here in the early returns from Bowden Francis. I'm sure Toronto's stoked to see that, but very disappointed to see what their bullpen is doing in the early goings. A 4.47 bullpen ERA. Not exactly getting out of the blocks strong. The offense has seen some positive things. George Springer hitting the cover off the ball in the early goings, but overall, kind of middle of the road in runs scored, but top 8 in both batting average and on base percentage. So that's a run scored number that we could expect to see some positive regression for, to see it headed up the standings a little bit. So we'll see if that happens in this one. They're likely to need some runs against Baltimore, although the Orioles, not up to their best start, 5-8 on the year. They just lost 2 out of 3 there at Arizona. Now, taking on Toronto, they are at home, so we'll see how this one goes. Hitting the ball in this one to Tomoyuki Sugano. He comes into this game 1-1 with a 2.89 ERA. He's been very good in both of his starts. Not going crazy deep into games, but this is going to be the second time here in the early season that he's already faced Toronto. He made his first start of the season at Toronto. 4 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs. Not a terrible outing, but not elite, I wouldn't say. And then followed it up with a pretty good start there at Kansas City. That was an 8-1 win, or 5-1 win. No, 8-1 win there for the Kansas City Royals. He went 5 1/3, gave up 5 hits, only a single run in that game. So very good stuff there. We'll see if he can back it up. The bullpen for Baltimore has actually been pretty good. A 3.35 bullpen ERA. Clearly not terrible, but the offense, not off to the kind of start you're used to seeing from the Orioles. 14th in runs scored, 12th in batting average, 17th in slugging percentage. This team not looking the same at the plate as it looked last year. Looking at the numbers for this game, Toronto plus 105, Baltimore minus 125. We've got a total of 8. Toronto 3-4 on the road, 10-3-1 to the under. That's an MLB best mark to the under. Baltimore 1-2 at home, 7-5-1 to the over. This is a little bit of a tricky spot, guys. I'm expecting decent stuff from both starting pitchers. Both bullpens, though, haven't really left me super, super stoked, although Baltimore's isn't looking terrible. A 3.35 bullpen ERA, not bad. I don't know if I can really justify taking Baltimore at this point, but I'm not loving, taking Toronto either with how bad their bullpen is. I'm going to lean just slightly towards the under, with Toronto showing those big trends towards the under, but not a play that I have a lot of confidence in. Now, guys, we're going to take a look at the Atlanta Braves going on the road to take on the Tampa Bay Rays. Atlanta off to a bad start. 3-10 to start the year. They're hitting the ball in this one to AJ Smith Shawver, hoping he can turn things around for him. But bro is 0-2 on the season, a 5.19 ERA, and he's 22 years old and looks like he's about 14, I'm going to say. This is a young-looking guy out there, but 6'3", a big right-hander. He can definitely throw it. He's had okay, but short outings, and not again. I mean, like his last time out was against the Miami Marlins. He went 4 2/3, gave up 7 hits, 3 earned runs, and what was eventually a 4-0 loss. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see if he can bounce back here a little bit, do a little bit better. We'll see if this Atlanta Braves bullpen can improve. Not looking nearly as good as last year, a 4.00 bullpen ERA. Not what's up. And yeah, the offense hasn't looked as good either. I mean, Ozuna's starting to turn things on a little bit, but they needed him to be nuts last year to have much of a chance. And he's batting .317 with 3 home runs and 8 RBIs. Like, he's doing what he can, but this offense is 28th in the majors in runs scored and 21st in batting average. So kind of the only way they can go is up. Will they go up here against the Tampa Bay Rays, who already won game 1 of this series 6-3? They're hitting the ball in this one to Drew Rasmussen, another guy with a red beard. So props to the Tampa Bay Rays here for employing pitchers with red hair. We love to see it. He's 1-0 to start the year, off to a great start, a 0.90 ERA. He went out and dominated the Pirates, which it's the Pirates, guys, so let's not overreact. But his second start of the year was at the Texas Rangers, a much better team. 5 innings, 3 hits, only a single earned run. He struck out 4 and walked 1 in that outing. So very good stuff there. Can the good stuff continue for him? I would say it's definitely possible. Now, how is that Tampa Bay Rays bullpen going to look? A 3.89 bullpen ERA, while not amazing. Maybe not time to freak out yet. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But the offense has been kind of mediocre in terms of at least getting runs across the plate. I mean, the team RBI number, or the team on base percentage numbers, the team batting average numbers are all looking very respectable. We've seen Brandon Lowe get off to a decent start. He's only batting .271, but 3 home runs, 9 RBIs. Like, we're not gonna be mad at the guy about it. But overall, they could definitely produce a little bit more offense. And looking at the numbers for this game, the odds makers like the Rays a lot. They're -140. The Braves are +120. We got a total of 8.5. Atlanta's 0-8 on the road. That's pretty brutal. Or maybe 0-9 now. I'm not sure. But yeah, not looking too good. They're 7-4-2 to the under. Tampa Bay 6-4 at home, 8-4-1 to the under. So with both teams showing big trends towards the under and one very good pitcher on the mound, you could talk me into a slight look at under 8.5. I would lean towards the under in this game for sure. I also think with how bad the Braves are just struggling right now, maybe we just roll with Tampa Bay -4 or -140. I don't know. Seems reasonable to me. I think it's definitely in play. I don't trust, AJ Smith Shawver, a 22-year-old, fading him in the early goings in the season seems very reasonable as well. So give me Tampa Bay here. -140 is a lot of juice, but it's got a chance. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Washington Nationals going on the road to take on the Miami Marlins. The Nationals came through for us with that 7-4 win in game 1. Got to feel good about that. They're 6-7 on the year, handing the ball in this game to Trevor Williams, who's 1-0 to start the year, a 5.40 ERA. Largely, because he's faced 2 pretty good offenses, but B, he's given up some runs, guys. He's given up 3 earned runs in each of his first 2 games. He's also gone 5 innings in each game. Struck out 3 against Toronto, struck out 6 against Arizona. So dude's throwing the ball pretty well. I don't think there's too much to be mad about. This 32-year-old veteran is doing his thing out there. The Washington bullpen, on the other hand, I would not say that they're exactly doing their thing. A 5.52 bullpen ERA has them 3rd worst in the majors. The offense is doing, okay. They're about middle of the pack, guys. I mean, they're 15th in runs scored. They are top 7 in a slugging percentage. That's nice. Not going to freak out, but I mean, James Woods has 5 home runs in the early goings, and Nathaniel Lowe has 12 RBIs. Like, they've got some guys that are doing some stuff. They're coming off a game they scored 7 runs. So we'll see what they do here in game 2 at the Marlins, who are 6-7 on the year. They're handing the ball to Sandy Alcantara, who's 1-0 to start the year, a 3.72 ERA. Both of his starts have gone fairly similar. He's given up 2 earned runs in each one, 2 earned runs there against the Pirates, over 4 2/3 innings. He also struck out 7 in that one, but then against the Mets, a little bit rougher, 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs. He gave a home run and struck out 4. So we'll see what he's got to do here against the Marlins. Against the Nationals. Obviously, not the scariest offensive team. The bullpen for Miami, though, off to a rocky start. A 4.61 bullpen ERA is not good. The offense has been not insane, but not quite horrible. I mean, they're 16th in batting average. They're 17th in on-base percentage. Just getting runs across the plate has been a bit of a problem. They're 25th in the majors in runs scored. Although they're coming out, they've scored 4, 5, 5, 0, and 4 runs over their last few. So they're putting up some offense. Got to give them credit for that at least. Looking at the numbers, guys, the Nationals are +120. The Marlins are -142. We've got a total of 7.5. Washington 1-3 on the road, 8-5 to the over. Miami 4-4 at home, 7-6 to the over. In terms of a side in this game, I'm leaning towards the Nationals at plus 120. I think they've got a decent chance to win this game, and getting plus money here feels reasonable. But my bigger lean on this game is definitely going to be over 7.5. That's far too small of a number. I think we see plenty of offense in this game. Both bullpens are not good at all. So even if the both starters step up and have decent outings, I think the bullpens will help us significantly to get over this number. Next on the docket, we're the Boston Red Sox going on the road to take on the Chicago White Sox. Boston let us down in an insane way, guys. Tons of errors in that game and eventually losing 11-1 there to the White Sox. We wouldn't probably even talk about the Red Sox today because we'd be so sick of them if they weren't putting that monster out there. Richard Fitz is going to be on the mound there for the Boston Red Sox. He's 0-2 to start the year, though, a 4.50 ERA. Both of his starts, he's given up 3 earned runs and gone 6 innings. So when you're doing that against the Rangers and the Toronto Blue Jays, I don't think it's time for anybody to be too upset. The bullpen for the Boston Red Sox has been mediocre, a 3.86 bullpen ERA. We also have to be a little bit concerned about A, their offense, and B, their defense out there was horrendous yesterday. So we'll see what happens. Abreu obviously off to a good start at the plate. Brigman off to a good start at the plate as well. They're 5th in runs scored, 7th in batting average. So this is probably, a pretty prime bounce back spot here for the Boston Red Sox. We'll see what they can do here in Chicago, taking on the White Sox, who are coming off of, a win there that snaps a long skid. We'll see if they start another losing streak here at 3-10 on the year. It has not been smooth sailing. However, they're handing the ball in this one to Martin Perez, who's 1-0 to start the year, a 0.73 ERA. Both of his starts this year have been excellent. 6 innings, no runs, and no hits allowed there against the Twins. He had 9 strikeouts, 3 walks. Very good stuff. And then followed up with a good start against the kind of hard-hitting this year Tigers. 6 1/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks. So very good stuff from him. The White Sox bullpen, a 3.56 bullpen ERA is much better than what we saw from them last year. We'll see how long that number stays up there. But the offense, obviously coming off of a game where they put up 11 runs is nice, but they're still last in runs scored and 29th in batting average. So not a very good offensive team, and that's a big part of why they're plus 135. The Red Sox are minus 160. We've got a total of 7.5 out there. Boston 3-4 on the road, 8-4-2 to the under. The White Sox 2-4 at home, 6-5-1 to the under. It feels a little bit sketchy, but I think under 7.5 is definitely in play. I mean, we got Richard Fitz on one side, Martin Perez on the other side, 2 very solid starters. I worry a little bit about the bullpens, but neither offense is doing much right now, so definitely give me a lean towards the under, and obviously I like the Red Sox here to bounce back at least just a little. Rapid fire through these games, guys. We're looking at the Kansas City Royals going on the road to take on the Cleveland Guardians. The Royals took a 7-0 loss at Cleveland in game 1 of this series. That's not a great look. They're 500 on the year, 7-7, handing the ball to Michael Lorenzen, who's 1-1 to start his season. A 3.18 ERA for this veteran 33-year-old right-hander. He's doing his thing out there. His last start was very good against the Twins. 6 innings, 5 hits, only a single earned run allowed, walked 0 and struck out 3. So seems like he's back on track after, something of a rough start to his season against the Milwaukee Brewers. The bullpen for the Royals, guys, has been okay. They're in the top half of the majors for sure. A 3.51 bullpen ERA. Nothing wrong with that. The offense, Bobby Witt Jr. finally starting to find his swing a little bit. He's batting up 380 now, slugging 481, so headed in the right direction. This team's up to 18th in the majors in runs scored, but still 20th in batting average, so progress to be made for the Royals, and they're coming off a game where they got shut out, so let's not give their offense too much credit. They're taking on the Guardians, who come into this game on a 4-game winning streak. The first 3 wins of that streak were against the White Sox, so how much does that really count? They're hitting the ball in this one to Luis Ortiz, who's 0-2 to start his season, and 8.44 ERA, not what they were after. First start got absolutely obliterated by the Padres. Second start at the Angels, he did a little bit better, but still 7 hits over 6 innings and 3 earned runs, including 2 home runs. Not exactly what the Guardians were hoping for. The bullpen for Cleveland, amazing to start this year, as well as last year. A 2.71 bullpen ERA is certainly excellent. In terms of the offense, Steven Kwan and Jose Ramirez killing it right out of the gate. They're 22nd in runs scored, though, and 22nd in batting average, as those bros just do not have a ton of help. But they have scored 7, 6, 3, and 1 runs over their last couple games, so the bats seeming to warm up a little bit for the Guardians, who are minus 120 in this game. The Royals are plus 105. We've got a total of 7.5. Kansas City 1-3 on the road, 8-6 to the under. Cleveland 4-0 at home, or 4-0 at home and 7-6 to the under themselves. This is a little bit of a rough spot. In terms of the side, I'm going to lean just slightly towards the Royals because I have very little faith in what I'm seeing from Luis Ortiz in the early goings, but that Cleveland bullpen is excellent. and it's just not my favorite spot. In terms of the total, maybe a little lean towards the under, but this game is kind of a wait and see spot for me. Now, guys, headed out to the NL Central, we've got the Pittsburgh Pirates going on the road to take on the Cincinnati Reds. The Pirates 5-9 on the season. They lost 2 out of their last 3, and they lost game 1 of this series 5-3. They're hitting the ball in this one to Andrew Heaney, hoping he can stop the bleeding. And Bro's been good in the early goings. I mean, no results, but a 1.50 ERA is excellent. He had a fantastic start against the Yankees his last time out. In a game, the Pirates ended up winning in extra innings. He went 7 innings, gave up 5 hits, only a single earned run. He struck out 10 and walked 1. So dominant stuff out there. His first start of the year against the Marlins was also very good. So love what we're seeing from Heaney here. We'll see if he can keep things rolling. The Pirates bullpen has been better than you would expect. A 3.64 bullpen ERA is respectable, especially given what we saw last season. In terms of the offense, though, it has not been a hot start. They're actually last in batting average as a team. They're 29th in slugging percentage. Brian Reynolds not even off to the greatest start. Like, this team struggling at the plate. There's no question about it. So will they be able to get the offense going here? Playing at the Great American Ballpark? Well, we'll see. The Reds come into this game winners of 3 out of their last 4. They're up to 6-8 on the year. They're giving the ball to Andrew Abbott, who's coming off the injury list to make this start. Bro, last season, I mean, not too upsetting what we saw, generally speaking. I mean, had a decent year putting up, what was his record? Yeah, 10-10 out there, not horrible. Obviously, a 3.72 ERA, not too bad there either. So, yeah, I would say cautiously optimistic about what we're seeing from Andrew Abbott. Now, the Reds bullpen, on the other hand, has been a little bit, it's been okay. We'll say it's been okay. Obviously, I'm not even complaining about a 3.48 bullpen ERA. It just hasn't been quite as good as it was at, its peak last season. So we'll see if they can pick things up there a little bit. But liking what we're seeing from the bullpen, the offense has been okay. Middle of the road at best, though. I mean, dead last in on-base percentage, 26th in batting average. I say okay because it's getting a little bit better. Like, they start off super high their first couple games and then absolutely just bottomed out immediately. So we'll see what we get out there, but not expecting miracles from this offense. The Pirates are plus 102. The Reds are minus 120. We've got a total of 8.5 out there. Pittsburgh 2-6 on the road, 7-6-1 to the over. Cincinnati 3-4 at home, 7-6-1 to the under. I know you don't want to be playing unders at the Great American Ballpark, but we've cashed at least one under at the Great American Ballpark already this season. I think this is an excellent chance to do that again. I love under 8.5 in this game. Great chance to end up in the pinned comment. I think Andrew Heaney's going to have a very good outing as well, so you could take the Pirates at plus 102, but I don't really trust their offense. I just think the under is the safer bet on this game. Headed out to the AL West for this one, guys. We're looking at the Los Angeles Angels going on the road to take on the Houston Astros. The Angels got absolutely shellacked in game 1 of this series, losing 14-3. They're still 8-5 on the year, so off to that hot start, but starting to make me feel a little bit like this hot start is not a real thing here for the Angels. So we'll see what happens. They're giving the ball in this one to Tyler Anderson, who's yet to figure in a result this year. 4.50 ERA, not looking quite as good as he did a season ago, but his last start was excellent. Good stuff there against Cleveland. 5 innings, 1 hit. Gave up 2 earned runs because of that home run that he gave up, but walked 4 and struck out 5. Still a very good outing, and it could have been great except for that one mistake. So liking the direction we're seeing Tyler Anderson headed in. Now, on the other side of that Angels bullpen, still a huge concern. A 5.45 bullpen ERA. Not great, not getting better anytime soon, it doesn't look like. And the offense, coming off a game they scored 3 runs, has been off to a great start. Mike Trout's already got 6 home runs and 12 RBIs. Bro's only batting 208, so this isn't like the craziest we've ever seen Mike Trout swing the bat, but things are looking good. As a team, 8th in the majors in runs scored, 4th in slugging percentage, now 15th in on-base percentage and 14th in batting average. Makes me think maybe this is a little bit smoke and mirrors, but we'll see as they take on the Astros, who are 6-7 on the year. Hitting the ball in this one to Ryan Gusto, who's yet to figure in a result this season, but we'll see what he does out there, guys. This is a bullpen guy making a spot start, and his bullpen work has been very good to start the year. His last time out was back on the 8th. He went 1 inning there against Seattle and was, pretty much flawless. He did give up a walk, but other than that, did not allow anything important. So very good stuff there. We'll see what he can do here in a starting role. We'll also see what we get out of that Astros bullpen, which over the course of the season has been pretty squarely middle of the road. I mean, a 3.77 bullpen ERA is not in, a disaster situation, but it's also not great. The offense, obviously coming off a game where they scored 14 runs, has to be very helpful, but still, it has been a huge struggle for this Astros offense this season. So we'll see what they do here, guys. The Angels are plus 124. The Astros are minus 148. We've got totals out there of 8.5 or 9. The Angels are 6-3 on the road, 8-4 to the over. Houston 2-4 at home, 6-4-2 to the under. I think this is an excellent spot to take the Angels at plus 124. Now, am I super pumped about taking the Angels after they already have burned us? I am not. But I do think this is a good value. We're not going to get scared here in the early goings. Given the Angels at plus 124, this has a very real chance, guys, as a nice little underdog to get in the pinned comment. If you're asking me, do I want Tyler Anderson going, or do I want the Astros bullpen? I got to side with Tyler Anderson. Rolling right along here, guys, we're looking at the Milwaukee Brewers going on the road to take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Brewers come into this game 8-6 on the year. They've won 4 out of their last 5, so things are looking good, and won 7-0 in Game 1 here against the Diamondbacks. Quintana having an amazing start, so we'll see if Chad Patrick can, pick up where he left off. Bro is 1-0 to start the year, a 2.45 ERA. His last outing was a very good one against the Reds. It was the Reds, so let's not freak out, but 5 1/3 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run. Start for that, excellent against the Royals. 4 2/3 innings, 3 hits, 5 strikeouts, no runs allowed at all. So, yeah, honestly, excellent stuff here in the early goings. They brought him over to the starting role after, only 1 bullpen outing, and, things are immediately looking pretty good. So we'll see what this young 26-year-old can do out there in this one. The Brewers, in terms of their bullpen here in the early goings, has been pretty brutal. Now, a lot of that has to do with that one Yankee game where they got absolutely slammed for like 20 runs or whatever it was. So we'll see what, actually comes out in the wash here for this Milwaukee bullpen. The offense has been off to a very reasonable start. 7th in runs scored, 15th in batting average, but we've seen good stuff, from lots of guys, to be honest. They've scored 7, 2, 17, 7, and 8 runs over the last few games. So definitely swinging hot bats coming into this game as they take on the Diamondbacks, who are 500 on the year, 7-7. They're handing the ball to Corbin Burnes, who's 0-1 to start his season, a 5.79 ERA. He's fresh off of a very mediocre start at the Nationals. 5 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, and gave up 2 home runs when he faced the Yankees to start his season. So not in love with what we're seeing from Corbin Burnes. Now, will he turn it around? Probably. Is he going to turn around in this game? Well, he's going up against a pretty hot hitting team. Now, the Diamondbacks bullpen has been much better than I would have guessed. A 2.94 bullpen ERA is excellent. Are they going to hold on to that for long? We'll have to wait and see. The offense is not having any sort of problem coming out of the gate, guys. They're 3rd in runs scored, 5th in batting average, 3rd in slugging percentage. This is going to be one of the craziest offenses out there in Major League Baseball. Now, they did get shut out their last time out, so let's not give them too much credit, but they are a very good offensive team, and that's a big part of the reason they're huge favorites here at minus 180. The Brewers are plus 150. We've got a total of 8.5. Milwaukee 2-4 on the road, 7-6 to the under. Arizona 4-3 at home, 6-5-2 to the over. This isn't a spot where I think I can find a ton of value, to be honest. It's very hard to know what we're going to get from these two starters. Burnes has been struggling out of the gate. Patrick's been so good, but he's a young guy. He could be inconsistent, and the Brewers' bullpen has been, terrible. So, yeah, I want to lean towards the Brewers at plus 150, maybe take the Brewers in the first 5 or something like that, but overall, this is a stay away spot for me with the tiniest of tiny leans towards Milwaukee. Next up, we're looking at the Colorado Rockies going on the road to take on the San Diego Padres. The Rockies are 3-10 to start the year. They just lost 8-0 in Game 1 of this series. Colorado not headed anywhere good this season. Chase Dollander is getting the start. He's 23 years old, so you can kind of guess what we're going to see out of him. He is 1-0 with a 7.20 ERA. He didn't have a great outing against the Athletics, but luckily enough, he got tons of run support and so qualifies for the win. We'll see what he can do, see if the Rockies bullpen can continue to be the worst bullpen in Major League Baseball. So maybe they can turn things around a little bit, but it's looking brutal out there in the pen once again this season. Kyle Farmer's off to a good start at the plate, but they're 27th in the majors in runs scored, despite being 13th in batting average and 12th in on-base percentage. So maybe those numbers are going to come up a little bit, but it's the Rockies, guys. I'm not expecting miracles. They're taking on the Padres, who've won 4 out of their last 5. They're 11-3 to start the year, avoiding the slow start they had a season ago. They're giving the ball to Kyle Hart to make this start, but he's 1-0, which looks good, but an 11.12 ERA looks a little bit less good, and Bro couldn't make it out of the first inning against the Cubs his last time out. Yeah, 2/3 of an inning, 2 hits, 5 runs, all of them were earned. He walked 4, so he had no control in that game. Maybe this is a huge bounce back spot for him. That's possible, but seems like a scary thing to bet on, but the Padres bullpen has been insane. Tops in the majors, a 1.65 bullpen ERA. The offense has also been excellent, guys. Jackson Merrill off to an insane start. Fernando Tatis hitting the ball well. They're tied for 10th in runs scored, but they're 1st in batting average and 5th in on-base percentage, so that run scored number is just going to get better and better. Looking at the numbers for this one, the Rockies are plus 146. The Padres are minus 170. We've got totals out there of 8.5 or 8. Colorado's 1-5 on the road. They're 7-4-1 to the under. San Diego, guys, is 7-0 at home and 6-6-1 to the over-under. So I definitely like the Padres here at minus 170. You can take a minus 1.5 as well. I think that's, well within the realm of, reasonable play. I don't know if it's something I'm willing to put into the pinned comment right now, but if you do end up taking the Padres there at that minus 1.5, you can get them at all the way up to plus 124. So that definitely seems playable. Now, do we, respect Kyle Hart's ability to bounce back in this one? Maybe. This is one that's going to need a little bit more of a look and probably not going anywhere near the pinned comment. Rounding into the home stretch here, guys, we're looking at the Chicago Cubs going on the road to take on the LA Dodgers. The Cubs just took the 3-0 loss there at the Dodgers in Game 1, so that's a little bit rough. And Steele getting a second opinion on that injured elbow, I think we all know the direction that usually goes. So things not looking that bright for the Cubs. They are 9-7 to start the year. They're giving the ball to Ben Brown in this game, who's 1-1 on the season, a 7.71 ERA. He's making his third start of the year, and his second start, third start of the year. His second start was not great. 4 innings, 7 hits, gave up 5 earned runs. So it's been pretty brutal for this young 25-year-old in the early goings. Now he's got quite the test here going up against the Dodgers. That Cubs bullpen has, not helped. Not helped. Nearly a 5 ERA coming out of the pen. Not what you want. The offense has done some things. Most of them have been positive. They're first in runs scored, 10th in batting average, 3rd in on-base percentage. Now, can they keep up those kind of numbers over the course of the year? I don't think so, guys. That seems very unlikely, and they just got shut out. They've actually scored a grand total of 2 runs over their last 2 games. So we'll see how things go here on the road against the Dodgers, who come into this game 11-4 to start the year. They're handing the ball this one to Roki Sasaki, who comes into this game yet to figure in a result, but things are looking pretty good for the young guy out there. I mean, he just went 4 innings, so not a deep start, but only gave up 1 earned run, struck out 4, and walked 2 against the Phillies. So no easy task there. And he already faced the Cubs once this season. It was kind of brutal. He walked 5 in that game, so control issues for sure, but only gave up 1 run, and it was a 6-3 win there for the Dodgers, who also can rest assured that once the bullpen comes into this game, that's going to be fine. They're 5th in the majors in bullpen ERA, so that's all looking very, very positive, and obviously the bats are expected to be insane all season long for the Dodgers. They're actually 18th in batting average, but 6th in runs scored and 2nd in slugging percentage, so I don't think it's time to be worried at all. And the odds makers certainly aren't. The Dodgers are minus 178. We've got a total of 8.5 out there. The Cubs are plus 150. Chicago is 5-2 on the road, 11-3-1 to the over. The Dodgers 6-0 at home and 9-5 to the over. So yeah, I think over is super reasonable in this game. I also wouldn't be upset at anybody that wanted to take the Dodgers at minus 178 or minus 1.5, but I think the real value in this game is probably just go ahead and ride the over or maybe the Dodgers straight up, and either way, I think you're making a plus expected value bet. Last but not least, guys, we're looking at the Texas Rangers going on the road to take on the Seattle Mariners. The Rangers come into this game 9-5 to start the year, but they've lost 3 out of the last 4. They're giving the ball in this one to Kumar Rocker, who's 0-1 to start his season, a 7.88 ERA. Looked terrible in his first start, guys, getting knocked around by the Cincinnati Reds, but he got things back under control. A very good outing his last time out against the Rays. 5 innings, 6 hits, only a single run allowed in that game. He walked 0 and struck out 1. Not a guy that's going to get a million strikeouts, but looking pretty good out there on the mound in this one. So definitely a positive for the Rangers. Their bullpen this season hasn't exactly been super pivotal in their hot start. It's been mediocre, a 4.13 bullpen ERA, not great. The offense has been okay, but also not great. I mean, they've scored 3, 6, 6, 0, 4, and 6 runs over their last few games. 18th in runs scored, 19th in slugging percentage, and we don't see anybody off to an insane start there. So we're going to have to come up with some runs against the Mariners, who are 6-8 to start the year. They won 3 out of their last 4. They're giving the ball in this one to Brian Wu, who got off to an excellent start last year before having ankle issues, I believe it was. He's 1-0 to start this season, a 3.75 ERA, a great start against the Athletics to open the season, and then a pretty mediocre start against a very good Giants team. He went 6 innings, gave up 5 hits and 4 earned runs. So not a disaster necessarily, but definitely not what you're after. The bullpen there for the Mariners is headed in the right direction, all the way down to a 3.11 bullpen ERA. So I expect the pen to be very, very good there for the Mariners. No doubt about that. The offense, once again, though, letting them down. I mean, they're 22nd in the majors in runs scored, 27th in batting average. They've scored 5, 7, 1, and 4 runs over the last few games, though. So maybe they're figuring things out there at the plate. Looking at the numbers, the Rangers are plus 120. The Mariners are minus 142. We've got a total of 7 out there. Texas 3-3 on the road, 8-5 to the under. Seattle 5-5 at home, 7-4-2 to the under. Am I going to take under 7 in this game? No shot, guys. I would lean towards the over, if anything, in this one, but I'm not going to put an over there at Seattle in the pinned comment. I do think you want to take the Mariners here at minus 142. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Brian Wu. Could this be a sneaky no-run first inning game? I think that's possible as well, but definitely give me a look at the Mariners in this one, despite the steep price. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new. But more importantly, get over to stumpthespread.com, get on that free email list, check out everything we offer over there. Let me know in the comments any questions you have about that or about today's slate, and I will get back to you right away. Thanks for watching, and we will see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.